refreshment time, folks.
I'm just gonna go watch a movie.
Do you like scary movies?
I don't watch movies.
I have to return some videotapes.
You have a TV?
No. I just like to read the TV guide. Read the TV guide. You don't need a TV.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me Shell. It's the fucking truth.
Over 1,600 titles. Each for rent at just $2 the first night and only
Finish him.
I don't watch TV.
Yeah, but you are aware that there's an invention called television, and on this invention they show shows, right?
It's a laser disc.
Okay, I want channels 18, 24, 63, 109, 87, and the weather channel.
Welcome to the Frog Brothers podcast with your hosts, Justin and Alec.
Hello, and welcome to episode 57 of the Frog Brothers podcast. Hey, how's everyone doing tonight?
Well, somebody very important just had their birthday. I think we should address that first. So, happy birthday, Adolf Hitler.
Fuck you.
Welcome to the Frog Brothers podcast. Justin
Justin
also had his birthday. But, you know, Hitler is unarguably more famous than you. So
yeah, and I'm just going to live with that and be okay with it. Because I'm not trying to compete with that, and my life message and motto is completely different. So, you know, I've got that going for me.
It's also the birthday of marijuana.
Pretty much.
Actually, our great-grandmother shared my birthday, so I'm not sure if she was older than Hitler or not, but I'd have to verify the date, so hopefully I can reclaim that back as just being something in the family, so.
Yeah.
Fuck you, goddamn Nazis. Nazi punks, Nazi punks, Nazi punks, fuck off.
Pretty much.
Little dead Kennedys for you there. Little dead Kennedys for you in the afternoon, late at night. So we had quite a fucking week. We're a little bit behind schedule, as John Hammond would say.
Spared no expense.
Spared no expense. You're listening to the voice of Richard Kiley.
I need a drop of your blood.
Ouch,
yeah, originally
John,
we were
really
going to record this on your birthday.
Yeah, and then we got Alec moved, though, which I think is a pretty good accomplishment.
Yeah.
We got his stuff moved.
Yeah.
It was quite a pain.
So that was quite a weekend. We had a pretty long weekend. Did a bunch of shit for our mom around her house. Got all Alec's goodies packed up. Got the full-size 26-foot truck because Budget fucked up our reservation. So that was exciting. So shout out to Budget for fucking us up and costing us extra gas money.
Our sponsor today is Budget.
Mm-hmm.
No, they didn't sponsor us. I mean, they did make it right by giving us the correct price. But
their budget for sponsorship was 3.5 sticks of gum and a pencil sharpener that says Budget Truck on it.
Sounds like you're still a little stuffy there, Alec.
Exactly, doesn't it? I'm fighting off a cold. That's why we recorded against an additional 3 days late. So
yeah, Alec sounded like shit. Just wasn't up to it, and he was getting settled. So we decided we'd try to cram an episode in here late at night. It's Friday night here, by the way. And don't worry,
Friday night.
We'll be back to a regularly programmed scheduling on Monday.
And I'm calling live from the first Comic-Con I've had in almost 2 years.
Has it really been almost
Missouri.
2 years?
I just tossed my phone across the room because I couldn't tell if it was making enough noise or whatever, but I think I tossed it a little too far, and so I kind of made one of those faces like, ooh, I hope my phone's okay on the other side of the couch over there.
I think the last con I did was TopCon in September of 2019. So.
Oh, damn, yeah, you're probably right.
It's been about a year and a half.
Year and a half, yeah.
Big River Comic-Con.
I see a bunch of cons happening again, so I'm sure it feels good to get back out there.
Mm-hmm.
So what's
a 12-hour shift tomorrow.
So we're not talking about it tonight, but we will mention that Mortal Kombat dropped today for the people that were hitting the theaters and on the HBO Max. Yeah. And then Falcon and Winter Soldier. I still have not watched either of those yet since we're off schedule. I was just getting caught up with everything else.
I intended to have them both watched by tonight, but I might watch Falcon after we finish this.
My old ass turned 37 on what was it, Tuesday? I guess it was.
I'm 37. That was Justin on his birthday.
Yeah.
What do you mean something
36?
like 36?
I'm 37. That's basically how it went.
Yeah.
Went down. It's been a wild week. I still don't feel caught up on rest or anything. There's a lot of good stuff going on, though. Hopefully Monday, though, we will record in the video rental store that Alec has set up. So far, the teasers he's posted on social media look pretty sweet. Pretty excited about that.
It's going to continue to grow for a while now, but it's got its basic, it's a basic premise is set up right now, so.
And it'll continue to evolve. And obviously, as movies come and go, you may see things shift around the shelving a little bit, just like a real rental store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually was watching, I put in Ninja Turtles 2 the other day while I was just because, like, I've rewatched the first one 100 million times all the time. Second and third ones, well, the second one, gets obviously the second most rewatch, but the third one, nothing. But I was like, all right, I'm going to watch the second one today. And as soon as I heard that, I just, like, lost, it just, like, it triggered something in my head, like, you hear something, you're looking around, you're like, what's going on here? Oh, yeah, it's the movie.
Yeah, you get those memories. Yeah.
Fucking Donatello.
Which is disappointing because that's the alternate Donatello that I don't really like the voice actor compared to
the Feldster.
Yeah, the Feldmeister.
Yeah.
So any big names out at that con you're at, Nick? Any good draws?
What's his name? Mean Chin from Comic Book Men. Was that what it's called?
Yeah.
I'm blanking a little bit. The voice actor played Frylock on Aqua Teen.
Okay, so they got a couple of names out there.
Animator, director that did Filmation's Ghostbusters, Scooby-Doo. Something more recent that I can't think of.
Yeah, sometimes at those smaller cons, they don't get like the A-list guest, but they, you get a lot of the fun people come out and cosplay and do things that are just kind of like local and showing off. So those are still fun. The
guy that played Cousin It in the old Addams Family show was supposed to be there, and of course he passed away this past week.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
And then, so I think they got the actress that played Wednesday to replace her, and she had to cancel.
Oh. I didn't do it. He did it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Why did he cancel? I didn't cancel. He canceled.
Because he's dead.
There's some decent merchandise, though. Quite a bit of Ghostbusters figures from the 80s.
Yeah, I saw that. Have you been buying a bunch of stuff up?
No, there's not a lot of ghosts. That's really all I'm looking for. But various conditions, and one vendor has like accessories with it in a bag, with the figures.
Oh, that's awesome.
How it should be.
Yeah.
So we don't really have much for show and tell because Alec dropped a bunch of money on moving. But I did get one thing from my lady friend. Shout out to Liz for the Goonies key. So this is going to go. I actually ordered a replica map earlier tonight. I'm going to do a shadow box with the key and obviously the
If you were to trace that on paper, it would be the exact size of my penis.
Well, that's awesome.
What? You can't see it, but it's kind of like a chode shaped. Like a nice chode, I guess, because it's like, not pathetic or anything here, but it's funny looking. Looks like an angry penis.
I imagine that's how Lorena Bobbitt, John Bobbitt's penis looked, because he's known as Franken penis, and he had an extension done.
Yeah.
All those types of things.
But would the nerves even reconnect ever after that? Would it just be pointless?
It's probably pointless. I just think you're really just messing with.
I don't know, man.
That's a considering that man's carried on and continued on after that. I give him props because I don't know if I'd have the willpower.
Yeah, just thinking about it gives me an existential crisis. We should talk about that case on Six Sad World.
Yes, that's a great choice. So that goes well with my official map included doubloon. The map is tiny though and doesn't actually look anything like it does in the movie. So.
Holy shit!
So that's about all I got. The little kids did some paintings and stuff for me, so those are pretty neat. Always good.
They paint you a pot leaf for 420?
No, they don't know about that yet.
Oh, okay, like a birthday cake.
They're children. I was waiting for you to do that. Oh, and Liz made a badass homemade cake for me, too.
I saw that.
It's fucking good. Between that and the cake and ice cream, I thought I was going to have diabetes. I was about to call and get my testing supplies if you or someone in your family has diabetes.
Ha! Yeah! I kill me!
I kill me, too. With diabetes.
Exactly.
Sugar. More sugar. You can go from like the diabetes guy to straight into Men in Black, and that'd be like an amazing character mashup.
Oh, God.
More sugar.
If instead of Vincent D'Onofrio, it was Fucking, I'm drawing a blank on the diabetes guy, and he's in
Wilford?
Alien. Wilford Brimley, yeah.
Yeah.
If it was Wilford Brimley instead of
Yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
More sugar, diabetes, please.
God, I'm just picturing the whole movie that way now.
Yes, it's such a good thing. I love it when the imagination just runs wild and free. Wild and free. It's like a musical and shit in here now.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So.
If everything you're doing is bad, I want you to know this.
Yeah, we're a little off schedule. So
what do we got?
Weird
What was in the news this week, other than the film release of Mortal Kombat, which we will talk about in a full review shortly soon.
They did announce the Camp Cretaceous Season 3, and I think they dropped a quick teaser for that. I have not seen it yet.
Oh, I still haven't finished Season 2.
I know.
I need to.
And
Supposedly
then
the fourth Captain America movie has been confirmed.
Yeah, they announced that as well, supposedly.
Spoilers!
Oh, I did read an article saying that they're going to bring in a bunch of characters from the Netflix MCU, but they're going to basically reboot them. They're just going to use the same actors.
Well, yeah, people are saying like Vincent D'Onofrio, as we were just talking about, as Kingpin, Daredevil. I mean, even Punisher I'd be okay with.
Now, Luke Cage is going to be recast, I think they said, because one of the guys that was in Luke Cage was cast as Blade. So, like, anything where there's, like, double continuity, things like that. So they're talking about recasting Luke Cage and what's the wanker that was in that one show that's so bad?
The Fist dude?
Yeah, the fucking
guy
Iron
who fists.
Fist. Oh, my God. That show is so fucking hard to watch.
The man who fists the man in the iron masks?
Yeah, that one. So they're talking about recasting him as well, so...
Well, why don't you just not put that guy in anything? I don't need any dude who likes to fist Iron Man.
I'm excited to have Daredevil
the man
in there.
with
and
fists
obviously,
Iron Man.
Based on what we've already heard, there's speculation that we're going to see Matt Murdock as Spider-Man's attorney. So that'll be kind of cool. I'm hoping to see some of that stuff in there.
Attorney at law.
So that's pretty much what I know for news right now.
News.
I'm not going to make anything up I don't know.
I haven't watched it, but what is it, Shang-Li and the Legend of the Ten Rings? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that trailer dropped. I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't watched it yet, but I'm kind of like saving it because I'm stoked for it, but I know nothing about that comic series in terms of Marvel. So it's one of those things I'm both excited for that and also nervous about it because I know nothing about it. Because it's kind of cool. It's like when I saw Captain Marvel, it's like I didn't know if I was going to like that at all, but I loved it.
Yeah, and I mean, it goes back to they're branching out with some properties like Guardians of the Galaxy. They did a great job with. And, Captain Marvel, they did a great job with. So some of these things that just aren't in the forefront of everyone's like pop culture zeitgeist prior to the MCU really taking things off, they've kind of really done a great job of adapting some of those other properties and making them pertinent and entertaining, so.
Yeah.
So I haven't watched that trailer yet. I really want to finish the Falcon and Winter Soldier before I start going on the next route and see what else is out there.
Speaking of that,
Water cooler, cold, cold, cold. 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 Water cooler, join the cold, cold. Water cooler, join the cold, cold. Water cooler, drink it out. Water cooler, join the water cooler, cold.
Hey, we're back with another episode of Water Cooler
Cold. Water Cooler Cold with the Frog Brothers Podcast.
Thirsty boy?
Hungry fella?
Yeah, so
Winter Soldier.
The Falcon
Episode
and the
5.
Winter Soldier.
Oh, yeah.
Titled Truth.
People are going to listen to us and be like, where's the coverage of the last episode? Because we recorded this late and the last one's out. But I know, but I'm just trying to put myself in the perspective of the viewer.
Them to calm down.
We're only
cool
on
your
episode
tits,
5.
listener. And if you don't have tits, cool them down anyway.
I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk me?
I mean,
It's
let's
been like
ask
8
Joel
days since I
Schumacher.
watched this episode at this point.
Yeah, something like that. But it was
This episode had a lot of cool shit in it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
They had that great fight sequence right at the beginning, the show.
Which is one of those battles you weren't expecting to see, at least.
Before the opening credits.
Right.
Yeah, no, I thought there'd be a few minutes before we got into that, but I love how they fucking snapped his arm, though.
Yeah.
That was so fucking cool. Like, he's fighting, and then he just he goes, pop. And you're like, ooh, okay. Because,
He
you're a
was holding
super
his own,
soldier. You're
too.
not invincible. You just fucking heightened. So he's just a big asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Which would be really hard to animate digitally, a giant walking asshole. But
Do you ever watch that show on Adult Swim, Assy McGee?
I never seen it.
It was literally an ass that talked and walked, and he was a policeman. Like a disgruntled, like, 70s style cop that was, like, kind of an asshole and shit that you see in movies.
Okay.
It was an Adult Swim show, Assy McGee.
I remember. I don't know if I ever watched it or not.
I never, like, intentionally watched it, and the humor wasn't
remember
necessarily great. I don't know how long it lasted, but
Probably not long.
it existed, that's for sure.
Alec is over here wiped out, man. He's wiped out.
I'm just, the
Well,
last few
between
days of...
moving and being sick and just...
The last 24 hours have been really exciting.
Exciting? I don't know if exciting is the word I would use to describe it.
Exactly.
So,
I
man.
liked, the best part of this episode to me was, yawn again, folks.
Man, you can't help it.
Sam and Bucky bonding, basically, over the boat scene. That was the best part.
Yes, and it really goes into today's episode because, coincidentally, the 2 movie choices I chose for my birthday are about movies on boats.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fucking perfect. And the camaraderie they have on there, and they finally start to understand one another, it comes along pretty well.
Mm-hmm. I like, they're at one point, they're throwing the shield around back and forth, kind of hitting the random shit.
Yep.
That'd be so hard on your arm, man. Especially for Falcon.
That's all I could think about, too. There's no way. This man would just have murdered himself already, but it's Marvel, so, you gotta...
Well, and we also saw Walker do that before he took the soldier serum, so...
Yeah.
I mean, so it just implies that thing's super lightweight, but it's still deadly, so I don't know.
Yeah.
The thing that's really interesting in this episode to me, though, is it's kind of just that dialogue where Sam goes and sits down... and I forget the older guy's name. You remember his name?
Isaiah Bradley.
Isaiah Bradley. He goes and sits down with him, and he's like, "You don't want to do that." Basically, telling him he doesn't want to be the Black Captain America. And then
he's like, "If you fucking knew what I knew, there's no reason why you would want to be this." Basically,
no self-respecting black man would be it.
Yeah, and that's like a real fucking hot take, but it's beautiful though because you see that Sam is not that same person. He's not that bitter, jaded old man, and not to say that man's not justified.
That man is completely correct in how he feels, and Sam said himself he would feel the same way if what had been done to him was done to him.
Exactly.
But the fact is, he is not him, and he is a different person entirely, and I think that's.
And I love
such a big part of that.
I love how they have that dialogue between Sam and his sister discussing that, and they really kind of come to terms on like, hey, you can do what you want to do based on that, right? And even Sam is like kind of feeling guilty about, I know you always thought that I walked away from the family, and that's the first time she's not giving him shit. She's like, no, you knew what you were doing,
yeah,
and kind of gives him that attaboy that he needed there to kind of continue on with this character arc. And one of the funnier lines in there though was when Bucky was like, he's like, you didn't use the robot arm or the metal arm, and he's like, yeah, I'm right-handed. I don't always think of it. And that's just kind of funny.
Yeah, that is. I liked that. Just seeing that in everyday life stuff. Their interactions on that boat and how they did some bonding, like some real bonding. It worked really well. I also liked. Oh shit! There was another thing I wanted to take a note about. Do I have a note about it?
Just kind of how they
around how Bucky doesn't wake up with a nightmare on that boat.
Oh yeah, that is a big piece. Yeah, that's a great call out there, Nick.
Oh, Bucky flirting with his sister too is funny.
Yeah, the whole time. Yeah, you can see he's just doing it to get under his skin, which that's just Bucky's style. If you go back and watch the original Captain America, like that's totally his style. He's totally like that, and it's good to see him start to show some of that original character that we know who he was to begin with.
Yeah,
just kind of overcoming all the bullshit and just kind of getting comfortable is who he is as a person. I like that. And then I love how Zemo's like, hey, I'm not going to kill you. He's basically settled the score with the Winter Soldier, basically saying, hey, you've done enough fucked up stuff. You've been manipulated enough by all these people that I don't have any bad blood with you. And he goes off to Wakanda, and
I bet we see him eventually again.
exactly.
I'd love to.
That's what I was going to say. It's like we're not done with him yet, and I love how we have these villains that aren't just dying off now. Because for a while, it seemed like they were killing everyone off, and you're like, this is.
You get some long-term fucking development with this shit. It's great.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, we've had Loki since the kind of beginning of the MCU be that one person, but now we got at least a couple of different ones, and Loki's still here. Speaking of Loki, he's up next, motherfucker. But.
And then the other cool piece in this episode is that when Walker gets stripped of his title, what's her name, who's working for the broker, comes in and basically is trying to recruit him, saying, hey, like, we've got access to resources. And then, that mid-credit scene.
From Seinfeld?
Yeah.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yep. You see that mid-credit scene where he's fashioning a new shield, so, like, he doesn't give a fuck. Now,
Out of his old war medals and shit.
Yeah, well, he's putting one of those on there, so that's kind of interesting. And I don't know, like, did they supply him any other kind of metal, or is that just a shield and he's just going to go fucking ape
I
shit?
can't imagine if they were going to supply the metal, they probably would have just supplied a shield already. Unless he is altering the shield.
Yeah, it's interesting, so.
But I don't know.
But they still show some humanity with him, and, like, I know the last episode's out already, but for me, just seeing this, it's like there's still a little bit there, like where he goes and sees Battlestar's family, and he's like, hey, I would do anything for him. So they have a truly deep connection there as people. So, like, you're de-escalating the monster in him, but also you're just showing that, like, he's vengeful in a different way now, and he's angry. So he's a total fucking wild card at this point.
Also, Bucky apologizing to Sam for being like, yeah, I'd never understood what it, like, it's clear that Steve Rogers and Bucky talked about giving Sam the shield. And he was like, yeah, I think that's the right choice to make. But they didn't think about the repercussions of him being black.
Yes, they thought strictly on character, which is a lot of people would say they have, lived their life that way, but...
And he apologized for basically being like, yeah, I'm sorry, I just didn't even consider it because I figured, you're a great person and people see that, but we don't see what you see.
Yeah, even 5 years post-snap and everything else going on in the world, like... There's still the systemic racism, and they're doing a good job.
And they came from the fucking 40s, so it's like...
Yeah, exactly. So they're seeing things in different eyes, too, compared to what everyone else is seeing. So there's so much depth to these episodes. It's great.
Yeah, those...
Like I said, it just feels like you're reading a comic now because you're getting the stuff in between the battle scenes, and it's so great to, like, learn all this stuff and see these characters grow.
And it's great because, this has been one of my favorite Marvel things... Falcon and Winter Soldier is just one of my favorite things of the last few years that they've even done. And I mean, I guess they haven't done anything in the last year and a half, but it's really good. And it's without having some of those crucial characters that everybody considers to be the most important. Now we finally have some real development for Sam and Bucky. It's just great.
Well, yeah, they're not having to just...
Because they had little bits here and there, but it just wasn't.
You're really just trying to weave them in there so you can kind of understand the most basics of who they are as people, but not the full nitty gritty.
They're about. So. We've gotten about as much backstory on them as we did with Steve Rogers in his entire
run now.
Yeah. I mean, we're there.
Exactly.
It's good. It's a good place to be. And again, I hope Walker is in the future too. I hope they don't kill him off in the last episode here. I'm pretty sure they won't.
I don't think you can. I think...
He needs to go forward and be in... There's lots of different stuff that U.S. Agent or John Walker ends up doing, and possibly I'd like to see some of that, so...
Yeah, and I think they went so big with the Infinity Saga that there's going to be a lot of stuff grounded a little bit more in reality post all that still, like what we're seeing now, right?
And it works fucking just great, because it's all reactionary too still, because they're all... talking one of the biggest conflicts in this show happens because of the snap still.
Yeah, the flag smashers. And then that was really awesome how they went and interrupted that supposed vote that wasn't going to happen anyway. They're like, fuck these people.
Yeah.
But they, were able to come do some of that. And I love how they're making these villains relatable, because these people are justified in their cause, but the execution is just what's fuck their moral high ground.
Well, it's the thing is, even if you want to talk about it, there's 3, I wouldn't even necessarily call them villains, but antagonists of this series.
Yeah.
You have John Walker, you have a little bit of Zemo, and you have the Flag Smashers, especially what's-her-face?
I'm always forgetting her name.
It's something kind of weird anyway, so. But either way, Carla something?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Carly, maybe? I don't know.
Freckles?
What?
Freckles?
Yeah.
Freckles, yeah. No, Carly, I think's her name.
Yeah,
But those three, I mean, and they're all identifiable to at least someone.
Mm-hmm.
And here's actually why it feels so relevant is like there's people like you or me who in a crazy Falcon Winter Soldier world would probably relate more to the Flag Smashers than John Walker. And there's people watching this who are relating more to John Walker than the Flag Smashers.
Oh,
but
yeah.
there you can see that there's common ground between them, and they both have like good intentions to start with, and they just go down this fucked up path, basically.
Yeah, they go down these roads where there's just no recovery from to some degree. There's no path to redemption once you start doing some of the shit these people are doing.
And Zemo, he's interesting because he had like that period, obviously, in Civil War where he's getting all this. It's basically just revenge and vengeance.
Yes.
And he's just trying to fuck everything up. And now he's like in a different spot where he's like, less of that and more of protecting everyone from fucking this super soldier bullshit and all these.
Well, and the great thing about that, too, when you go look back at Civil War, is you expect Zemo's going to activate all these soldiers until you find out that he's totally against that once I'm all dead. He kills those ones all off, and then now he's dealing with this again. And so, like, he's extremely relevant based on all
It's
that.
almost like in Civil War, he was the fucking hero the whole time.
I mean, yeah, because who else could have activated those?
Except for, I guess,
making,
killing the king of Wakanda and that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, well, beyond that, right? And obviously that's a huge part of the MCU, right? You know, that's how you launch the Black Panther and everything into the series, so.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I liked how they tied Wakanda into this stuff together.
Yes, I like how they're still holding all these things that are
it's relevant. And I like how Sam's suit is coming from Wakanda.
Yes, all that on there. Yeah, because he's not going to get a super soldier serum, right? So, like, you assume that's his suit in there. Like, does his Captain America suit have wings? You know, I haven't read a lot about his arc as Captain in the comics, specifically because I didn't want to, like, spoil anything. But I know that he's done that role, and I know that Bucky has as well. And so I'm curious, like, there could be more than one Captain America. Because they both had the mantle before, right?
Well, you also have fucking Walker still, who thinks he's Captain America.
Yeah, I mean, clearly he's got the U.S. agent title, or he's going to develop that. I think that's kind of where we really see his character arc going at the moment, but...
Yeah.
You need one for every state.
Exactly. So I'm excited. I'm really ready to close this series out and
What
see
would,
how amazing it is.
What would Texas look like? Like, basically like a cowboy hat and cowboy boots onto the Captain America outfit?
Yeah, but with assless chaps.
Flag boots.
Right. No, if it was Miami, he'd have like rollerblades and hot pants on.
Well, fuck yeah, he would.
And then, yeah, I don't know. Up if he was in the Northwest, it'd be like a fucking lumberjack look, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Wonder if he's got that credit card. Unfortunately, it does us no good here. So, that's Falcon and Winter Soldier. So,
A few days we'll
let's jump into the
cover
top.
the finale.
Let's jump into the top 5.
You want to do the top 5 first?
Oh, yeah.
All right, I suppose.
Top 5, 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 top 5.
This is top 5.
This is top 5. So, my birthday year is the year of our movie, Ghostbusters, 1984.
Easiest top 5.
This is the most fucked up top 5 ever. Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, it's a little difficult for the number 5 position for me. Like, there's like.
Well, it is, but only because you're like, well, which one of these other 10 films do I have to include in this spot?
Yeah, there's a lot on here, right? And I wanted to get a little bit broad with my categories here, so they're not all in the same category. So, what I was looking at. And there's some honorable mentions, too. But, Nick, what's your number 5?
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay, that's a good choice.
Starring. Well, yeah.
Who's in that? Is
Johnny
that
Depp.
is that Corey Feldman?
It's Johnny Depp.
Oh, Cloris Leachman's not in that one. She pops up
She's
at the
the
end,
mom.
doesn't she?
Somebody's
Yeah.
somebody's mom.
Probably.
And Ernest P. Worrell.
Yes. as Freddy.
Oh my god, I would watch that.
You know what I mean? Vern? Oh my god. The mashups you didn't know you needed in your life. What's your number 5, Alec?
My number 5 is 16 Candles. Directed by John Hughes, starring Molly Ringwald.
You can't see this, can you? That's my number 5 as well.
Oh, shit. I bet the rest of our list is the same, maybe jumbled a little bit.
Yeah, we're probably going to be within 1 or 2 of that. All right, Nick, number 4.
Well, wait, we got to...
oh, you want to get into 16 Candles?
Just a tad bit, Okay. This is one of the early... I think this is the first teen film John Hughes did, basically. Because shortly after, he did Breakfast Club, but Ferris Bueller... You know, I don't think... He didn't direct Pretty in Pink, but he produced it. He did Weird Science. Produced Some Kind of Wonderful, I think, as well. Like
Not to mention just what he fucking wrote, besides...
well, exactly, but I mean, as far as teen comedies, this is the first one he did in that era, you know, Molly Ringwald. The Molly Ringwald fucking John Hughes movies, basically. And what's the fucking guy's name? Farmer Ted in 16 Candles. He's obviously in Vacation, and I forget his name now. Anthony Michael Hall.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
He's obviously in this. No, this is a hilarious movie. People underrate it and think it's a girly movie, and it's a dope fucking movie, and I love it.
Well,
I've seen it in the theater, actually.
Yeah, it just takes the premise of, like, oh, everyone just assumes it's like a Sweet 16 style movie. And at the most basic part of it is. And there's a wedding in it, so I could get why people say, oh, that's a chick flick or whatever else, but it's fucking hilarious. It's just such a good coming-of-age story.
Yeah, but at the wedding, remember, like, her sister took too many muscle relaxers and is just like... Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It's just hilarious.
No, look how many other movies that had weddings, like, were influenced by this.
Yeah.
Like, the shenanigans, the absurdity of some of that stuff.
Plus, Long Duck Dong in this movie is great.
Yeah. The fucking name of him is amazing. And his character is great.
And he's with that chick who's, like, much taller than him, and he's always, like, pressing himself into her tits and shit. It's just hilarious. It's a good time. There's boobies in this movie. There's lots of sex talk, so it's a good teen comedy movie, not just for girls. I am a 30-year-old man, and I love it. It's on my top 5 films of the year.
It still holds up, though, when you watch it, though. It doesn't feel... You know, there's some, like, coming-of-age movies that you're just like, oh, that didn't age well. But this one holds up, so...
Yep.
Number 4, Nick.
Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
Ooh, starring Corey Feldman, actually.
Yeah.
This one does have Corey Feldman in it.
Yeah, it does.
Crispin Glover.
Crispy
and
glove
the guy
holders.
who plays Teddy. Come on. Great duo.
This, that probably is my favorite Friday the 13th.
It's definitely, I think, the most classic and all that.
I think it's the most well done of, like, a good Jason movie where he's at his peak and it's still at the camp, and, you know,
it's got some good teen characters. The side characters and stuff are all really good.
Yeah. Plus Corey Feldman and the masks and shit that he makes in that movie, those are all cool as shit.
Yeah.
And you forget, like, how young he is in that, right? Like, this is...
Oh, yeah. This is, like...
pre-Goonies for him, right? Like, he's noticeably younger.
This is the same year as Gremlins for him.
Yeah. Yeah, and, like...
When he's getting started, man.
They probably shot those in the same summer, and since his roles weren't huge, and either those,
like... He had a cameo in Part 5 because he was filming Goonies, so they went to his house, turned his backyard into a cemetery.
Oh, really?
So that's why they jump ahead in time when he's growing up, because he was busy filming Goonies.
Oh, okay. That's cool. It's good to know.
Yeah.
What's your number 4?
My number 4.
Did we skip your number 4, Dustin?
No, I'm going last.
My number 4 is The Terminator.
Ooh, that's a good fucking choice.
My fucking God. I actually just watched this the other day when I got I watched it again, because I watch this movie all the fucking time, but I watched it again the other day. I just threw it on the TV while I was doing stuff in the new place, and God damn, it's good.
Yes.
It holds up well, and I know most people think that Terminator 2 is better, but...
Yeah, one's my preference, too.
One is my preference. It's so much more original in concept than obviously a sequel could ever hope to be.
Yeah,
So
and it's much more fucking terrifying. It's like, it's a psychological thriller as much as it is an action sci-fi
now,
movie.
it's a lot more low budget, but that adds to the charm too, and it's what makes it more impressive. It's just a wonderful fucking movie. It's great. So
the only thing that looks bad in that movie though is like the future war scenes that look kind of cheesy because
no, those look great to me still.
I was gonna say those just look like little miniatures of
The
models.
thing that looks bad to me is Arnold's fake fucking head when he's carving his eye out and shit.
When he takes the eye out with the X-Acto knife. Yeah, there's a few
That's
moments
what I
in there
mean.
that don't hold up, but
But even then, I know I still love it because it's practical effects, and I grew up with that shit. But
I mean the exoskeleton at the end is fucking glorious.
yeah,
Thing's
the stop
amazing.
motion shit.
Terrifying.
Yeah, that movie is way scarier than the than the sequel, and there's just no way around it.
Yeah,
and the fact that like Kyle Reese is, just a
Michael fucking Bean, however you say his name.
just a fucking human though. Like he's got nothing special about him besides his fucking knowledge and his survival skills.
Mm-hmm. He goes back in time. He's like, I've never even had sex before, and then he fucking gets a woman pregnant the first time. It's not supposed to happen.
He had a hell of a load. Come on.
I mean, hell yeah, he does.
Time travel.
He probably
man.
doesn't flog the bishop that much in the future.
Yeah, well, where could you? You could get killed doing that.
I was about to say, you probably just have to do it just so you didn't have massive balls between your legs all the time, slowing you down.
Like that South Park episode where they're in the wheelbarrow.
Yeah, he puts him in a wheelbarrow because he gives himself cancer so he can get a medical marijuana card.
Yeah.
So he microwaves his balls in that episode.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's great.
My number 4, The Karate Kid. I enjoy that quite a bit.
Holy shit, now I'm wondering what you've excluded off your list.
Oh, there's a few on there, man. There's a few.
Because Karate Kid is one of those ones that I was like,
yeah,
I can't put that on my top 5. I love that movie. If I had a 10, it would definitely be on my other 5 for sure.
That one's on there for me just because
so good though.
I watched that a bunch growing up, and I just still love that movie. And the fact that it's come back and they've made it relevant,
oh yeah,
just gives me hope for Ghostbusters Afterlife. 2 Columbia Picture properties from 1984 coming back doing well. Like you're just thinking like properties can be revived and do well if you have people that understand the story and understand the dynamics of change. And so I think that's I just love how you go from that original movie there, and like it's just such a great learning story too. There's a little bit of romance in there. There's a little bit of struggle. The Jersey kid coming out to California.
There's a 22-year-old kid playing a 14-year-old because he seems to have issues, but then later in life he looks normal.
Well, I mean, how many Hollywood movies don't have 22-year-olds playing?
But he doesn't look 22. He does look 14. That's the fucked up
He
part.
looked really young in the first one for sure.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. In the first one, he does look like 15 tops.
Yeah.
And he's like 22, and I'm like, shit.
Fuck, I couldn't grow facial hair to my mid-30s, so,
I don't even just mean facial hair. The man is just, he looks like a baby.
Yeah, that's
baby
fine.
man. Karate baby.
He's doing well. You can't hate on somebody for that.
Nobody's hating.
Great.
Just pointing out the weird shit.
All right, I get it. Nick, number 3.
Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock.
I knew that'd be on your list, you goddamn hippie.
Yeah, we knew it would be on your list. That's not a surprise.
It's a great movie, overshadowed by its predecessor. But it's a direct continuation, so it's still a great part of a great story. So.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's fine.
Tell me more about that.
It's directed
Who gives
by
a fucking shit?
I'm just kidding.
Fucking trolling you on the live show.
No, I was actually curious, like, what makes it good? Like, how does it rank in terms of those Star Trek movies? Those, like, 6 ones, right? There's, like, 6.
I'd say it's probably my number 2 behind Wrath of Khan. So.
Okay, I gotcha. Because obviously
But
Wrath
it's
of
like a
Khan's, I
direct
think, the
sequel.
most
It's like
famous
one,
of those ones.
It's
Yeah.
one continuing story. It's like a trilogy of 2, 3, and 4. So.
Nice.
Pretty good.
Pretty,
We'll make you watch
pretty
them
good.
soon.
All right, number 3, Alec.
Number 3. I don't even have to look at my list anymore. Number 3 is something that my colleague to the right of me suffered from.
Oh, that's my number 3 then.
Suffered mass trauma from, and we've talked about it on this podcast quite often.
You got to openly talk about your trauma. That's how you heal.
A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yep, that's great. I love it now. I used to hate it.
One of my favorite horror movies, if not my favorite horror movie. It would probably be in my top 5 horror movies.
If you told 4-year-old me that I would actually like that movie later in life, I would feel like I'm getting that speech at the beginning of Vacation. He's like, "You think you hate it now? Wait till you watch it."
Jesus.
And that's basically what it is, because you're like, oh, okay.
If you're taking the family across the country in a vehicle, let me tell you, this is the vehicle you want to do it in, Mr. Griswold.
Yes. That's amazing. That's so well done. This movie holds up so great. And like the rest of them like have a huge tonal change. Like 2 is still pretty dark, but then by 3 they kind of get into this groove where they kind of start doing like horror comedy for the whole time. Like the first one's pretty much just a straight shooter.
It works for me because horror comedy is my favorite genre of movies.
Oh, it does, right? But there's nothing's going to ever beat the original one here.
For sure.
Because it's just so fucking scary.
Yeah, it still holds up.
Freddy's not even in it very much.
No, he doesn't need that.
It's like Jaws, man.
It's like Jaws or Beetlejuice.
It's about the characters, not the villain.
Yes, and that's why that first one works so well.
Yeah. It's a masterpiece.
So, it's hard to argue anything about that movie.
Nick, what's your number 2?
My turn already?
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah, we both had that one, so we both kind of double teamed it, you know. Chinese finger cuffed Freddy. I'm taking the mouth, though. Had to think about that one. Which one do you want? But taking the mouth. I'm your boyfriend.
I'm
My
proud
number
of
2
you.
is The Terminator.
Fuck you, asshole.
Why'd you do
Fuck
that?
you, asshole.
Because you told me to.
That's Terminator 2.
I know.
Yeah.
Because you just can't.
You think it was Sarah's first time, too?
What?
Sarah Connor's first time?
it was Sarah's
Fuck no. You
first
think a
time?
waitress like that in California out there doesn't know how to live her best life?
Earlier in that movie, she had a date and the guy blew her off, remember?
Yeah, because she doesn't put out.
I mean, possibly, but she's probably put out before. How old do you think she's supposed to be in that? Isn't she like 20?
She's supposed to be 19, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, I want to say.
Well, that's just laughable.
Yeah.
Because, no.
I think she's canonically 19. But
She does not give me off 19-year-old vibes.
Yeah,
No.
she's like 23 to 25 vibes based on her.
She did a lot of drugs.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
I was about to say, yeah, maybe with a bunch of cigarettes. She was also in Children of the Corn this year.
Yeah.
Which-
Yeah, because we watched that. We reviewed that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your number 2, Alec?
Number 2.
Let me guess.
I told you we should have got a Zenith.
Gremlins.
What can I say about Gremlins
That hasn't been said.
that hasn't been said about God himself, except that this exists and it doesn't make people commit genocide?
That's the beauty of this movie. Is so well done. It's my number 2.
It might one day, though. You don't know.
I mean, it could. With the new show coming out, we'll see.
You said this is your number 2 also, Justin?
Yep.
This is the shit.
Gremlins, man. It's fucking amazing.
This is probably my number 6.
See, I love this because it's a horror comedy. Unintentionally, this original one, right? Because the second one's like very tongue-in-cheek. It knows what's going on. It knows what's silly about it.
It's horror comedy. It is both. It's one of those horror comedies that isn't.
It's a horror Christmas comedy.
It's not. Here's the big difference in 2 styles of horror comedies. One of them, which is the best ones, are scary and funny. They're not funny trying to make fun of scary stuff. That is the whole other stuff. That's pretty much what Gremlins 2 is. Gremlins is scary and then funny and then scary and then funny. And that's why it works so well. And it's a masterpiece. It has great acting, people you like to see in it, great effects, great puppetry, great voice acting, and interesting fucking plot, scenery.
I love how they make such great use of a small town, right? And they're using the same backlot that Back to the Future was filmed on for the town square, right? And you get that small town, like that set just works for that small town vibe. And you get the bar scenes, you get the movie theater scenes, you get everything, and it's so great because it works so well that way. And they don't kill the dog, although they try to.
Fuckers.
So yeah, I got to give them credit for that because a lot of people nowadays would have just killed the dog off.
Fucking A, man.
Exactly.
Well, they use the dog as a distraction.
Yeah, but they are also smart enough to get the dog out and say, hey, we're going to take the dog to such and such place. That way they don't have to be assholes to it. And I applaud them. All right, so we can all just say number 1 right now. 1, 2, 3.
Revenge of the
Ghostbusters.
Nerds.
Pretty in Pink.
I actually said a movie that actually came out in 1984, but no, it is Ghostbusters, obviously. I mean...
Yeah, we're a Ghostbusters themed podcast.
Ghostbusters also.
What are you going to do?
Now that I've said that, though, because we don't need to say anything more about that than it's already been said.
Temple of Doom? That was hard to exclude.
Temple of Doom's a hard exclusion. This is Spinal Tap was hard to kind of put. It's in the top 10 for sure.
Agree.
And then, when I'm looking at general comedies, like 16 Cannibals is kind of up against Police Academy for me.
Beverly Hills Cop?
Did you say 16 Cannibals?
Repo Man, okay?
Fuck, yeah, there's so many good ones out there.
Blood Simple, Never-Ending Story.
84 is crazy.
Yeah, it literally looking at it is like, this might... Like, this is
People
probably
go
in...
to the movies
we need to do
more
top
often.
5 years of film, and this would guarantee this would be in there, if not number 1.
Oh,
You think people went to the movies more often in 84 than any other year? Or are some of these movies not really...
Judging by box office, no.
The top 10 box office is fairly close to our list, but when you really look at it, it's a little different than that. So, I mean, a lot of these movies grew over.
What was the
home
top
video and
earning
stuff
movie?
as well.
Karate Kid?
No, it was Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And then Ghostbusters outdid it when it was re-released in theaters later on. So,
yeah, I hate it when they re-release stuff and they reclaim it's like done more and shit, and you're like, oh, fuck off. Like how they were like Avatar and Avengers were kept like battling it out and shit, and you're like, fucking just quit, just fucking finishing each other's mouth and be done with it.
yeah, and I'm still not gonna watch Avatar, but I will watch Infinity War. So.
Then they're doing like a whole bunch of shit with that garbage too.
And they've been working on it for like a decade now. It's like,
and they're
actually working on it.
Not fucking worth it.
Because I remember James Cameron was working on that crap at Comic-Con a couple of years ago when he came back and was like, I'm producing Terminator Dark Fate, or whatever the fuck
They've
it
been
was.
talking about these movies for 10 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so it's like basically just James Cameron's trying to come up with new film technology, and you're like, okay, no one cares anymore because 3D only lasted so long and it only did so much.
He's gonna be dead before they get to 4. or
Hopefully.
whatever he wants to do.
Whatever it takes to not get those movies made.
I'm not going to watch them. I'll just play Ferngully over and over. Speaking of which, I need to find that on VHS.
It's literally just Ferngully and Dances with Wolves combined into one script.
Yes.
Starring Sigourney Weaver. And not even really starring, but she's in it.
Yeah.
And that's the only like thing that makes you want to watch it, but you're like, no, just don't. Don't do it.
No,
Just
I'll
don't.
just watch Alien.
Just ignore it.
Ghostbusters. If I
Yeah.
want to see Sigourney Weaver in sci-fi, I'll watch her in Alien. Or
Gorillas in the Mist.
Exactly.
I'll watch Congo, so, something else.
I watched Congo the other day, actually.
It's a good movie. It's way underrated
Sigourney
for what
Weaver's
it is.
in that?
Because it didn't reach
No,
the
but
levels
Ernie
of
Hudson
Jurassic
is.
Park. Ernie Hudson's in it, yeah.
Laura Linney.
Yep.
Laura Linney's fine in that, too. But I'm attracted to Laura Linney now, too. Like, old Laura Linney. I'm still like, she's hot.
Nothing wrong with that. Some people age well.
She's done a lot of indie movies where she's naked and stuff, too, and in sex scenes, so you're just like, I can't help it. You did this to me.
Did this to me.
What was that? Squid and the Whale? She's in that. She's really good.
Oh, yeah, that's a great movie, too. That's like
Ozark, obviously. She's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now we're talking about Congo for Justin's birthday.
Hey, I'm just saying. It's on the shelf right by me. Honorable mentions there, yeah. There's a lot of them on there. Like Beverly Hills Cop, people say is like crazy amazing. I'm like, yeah, it's good, but I think it's, in my opinion, it's a bit overrated.
Well, no, here's the thing. I think if I had seen it more as a kid, I'd probably feel the same way as other people do, but I didn't.
I mean, I saw it enough, but
I have respect for it, but I actually would say I probably like Police Academy better, and I don't know if that's blasphemy, but like, you know, it's not even, because I love Judge Reinhold and I love Eddie Murphy, so you'd think.
Yeah, I was saying I was like a big fan of Eddie Murphy, but not necessarily Beverly Hills Cop.
But my problem with Police Academy, though, is that, to your point, growing up, I saw Police Academy 2 and 3 probably on cable just as much as the original. kind of like mixed in, so you're always like, oh, okay, and then like
you never really understand which one's which even.
And the sequels aren't nearly as good, so you're like, this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And so distinguishing one from the other, it's kind of all a fucking blur.
I have a pack of like the first 4 of them, and I think I've only watched the first 2 or 3. So
yeah,
I watched the first one over and over. But
I'm Steve Gutenberg. I'm in movies. I used to be in movies in the 80s. Why wasn't that movie with the baby?
3 Men and he was in Cocoon 1 and 2, I think.
Oh yeah, there you go. Well, let's keep moving right along.
What are we moving along to?
Which movie first?
Well, let's start with the older movie.
Another man's garbage is another man's gold. Leave all the nostalgia horses, wait till you get old. Another man's garbage is another man's treasure. I know that you will hate it, and that fact gives me pleasure.
Another
man's garbage.
Garbage.
If I had to do a visual representation of all of these themes, like a video intro, it'd probably be people mosh pitting at a movie theater.
I like that idea.
Just standing up and fighting and shoving and crowd surfing in a movie theater. That's what makes me want to do anyway. Just start beating the shit out of people in a movie theater, but I'm not going to do that.
So the closest experience I have to that in real life, real quick, is there was the old Dickinson Theater, Cinema 8 in Olathe. And when that closed down, they turned that into eventually a laser tag arcade place. But they did a couple of small like music shows in there. So in one of the theaters, they took out the couple.
Which
front
theater
rows.
are you talking about?
Cinema 8.
Is that the one that was at Santa Fe and something?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Okay, yeah. It's
And
laser.
so-
it was laser tag like 10 years ago. Is it still laser tag?
I think so. Maybe, I don't know.
Hope so.
Anyway, so once the theater closed, I saw a show there, at least one local show there where they had bands, and so they'd taken out probably the first third set of rows in there. And so, yeah, there was like some moshing and stuff going on in a former movie theater where they still had the screen and stuff up and the curtains in the background, but they just built a stage in front of it. So kind of neat.
There's interesting notes about that theater in Olathe. I remember seeing 2 movies there ever.
I remember seeing Home Alone 3 there as a dollar theater presentation.
I never saw that one in theaters, I don't think.
You were with us.
I don't remember it at all.
You were little. You're a child.
Yeah, but I mean, I remember seeing Power Rangers there before that, and that came up before that.
I saw Return of the Jedi there, the special edition. You guys were out of town. I was at home with Dad. And then I saw Ninja Turtles there, which I almost got lost.
I saw the...
Could have been abandoned because I had to take a leak during that movie, and Dad didn't get up. He just like made me go by myself when I was a little kid.
Pretty sure we saw the 98 Godzilla there.
Probably. And so like I had a hard time finding it because they're playing Ninja Turtles on more than one screen, so I walked back in the wrong one theater at first, and I freaked out. I was like, where the fuck did he go? And then later on found him. So fun stories about that theater.
Me and Edgar later, when I moved up here in 2009, we went and played laser tag there one weekend.
Oh, that's
after
badass.
we had gone and eaten Chinese food or something. I think maybe it was Japanese. I don't know. Either way, we ate some Asian food, and then we went to Best Buy and bought like CDs because it's 2009.
Yeah, CDs were still big then.
And I think we were looking at vinyl there too. And then we went to play laser tag as Why the Fuck Not. And that was when Kmart was still open and shit over there.
So anyway, on to the actual movie we're talking about. So Captain Ron. Steve Martin? Not.
Martin Short.
Martin Short plays a character named Martin, ironically.
They do that in movies sometimes.
I know.
It's mostly comedians, I think, so it's easier to improv, maybe. I don't know.
Probably, I would agree with that. Yeah, I think it's easier when they hear their own name and stuff like that. So, and then Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
And Kurt Russell is just like...
This is basically Escape from the Caribbean.
Yes, and it's also... If you ever wondered where Dog the Bounty Hunter took his style and influence from, he stole it right from Kurt Russell in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Who
stole it right from himself in Escape from New York.
Yes. But the shitty sunglasses he's wearing in there and like the little braid in his hair and stuff, it's hilarious.
I was about to say the little coif in his hair on the top and shit is fucking hilarious. It just... This is one of those movies we grew up watching. It'd be on cable, and we'd fucking just watch that shit.
It's hilarious. It holds up just because like Captain Ron himself is like such just a lovable asshole.
Yeah.
In that way
how did he get his glass eye again? He win it or stole it or?
I can't remember, but it's hilarious when he drops out of there and then, he's wearing the patch and then the kid makes the patch to look like him on his glasses.
As his real eye.
No, that's why it's hilarious.
Just kind of darted off to the side.
Yep.
Yeah. And it looks so great, like the contact they put in over that. It looks so amazing in that movie anytime they show it. Just good.
I think he's dead because he's got his eye patch over his good eye.
And you don't even really care why they get this boat in this movie. They just basically say, hey, like, you inherited this boat, so if you're going to go sell it and scrap it or whatever else, you're going to go do this. And, hilarity ensues.
$500,000.
Yeah.
When rich people write movies, this is what happens.
Yes.
They're like, people just get boats, right? That's the thing.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, I've gotten several boats myself, so.
It could happen.
But I love how
could.
Love how Martin's getting
and monkeys might fly out of my butt.
Martin's getting so pissed at Ron the entire movie for one thing or another. Like, first it's gorillas. Watch out for gorillas out there.
It's very classic comedy movie, like.
And then he's like arguing versus gorillas. Because he's like corrects him. He's like, gorillas are from parts of Africa.
Revolutionaries or...
Yeah.
This movie would pair well with a double feature with What About Bob? Because the vibes, the time period, all of that is very similar. They're even on a lake, so it's around water and stuff.
The only thing is that Ron does not drive Martin to that fucking level of nutty we get to see in What About Bob? Which is fucking heroic in its own
I think
right.
it would have been a little bit better if he went more
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah, because like everyone else like loves the person besides that. Like the wife loves it, kid loves it. They all bond and everything else.
Yeah, the wife loves it.
It's hilarious. Like when he's grinding on her ass when he's like showing her how to steer the boat. Hey boss, check this out. And I just love how stupid and gruff he sounds the whole time. It's like learn that driving the USS Saratoga. Like that comes back up again at the end of the movie.
It's amazing. And
then another standout scene is, when they deal with the pirates. He's like, "There are no pirates of the Caribbean," and you're like, "Oh god."
Been to Disney World one too many times.
Yeah, and then they go to Cuba and everything else, which is interesting in its own right, just because like hearing all that talk about Cuba and like the tension there was clearly like still post Cold War type stuff going on. So even then, it was like kind of outdated for the early 90s, like, where the time place it takes place in.
Well, kind of, but not really, because we still had that trade embargo until recently, like we still weren't traveling there.
Yeah,
that's why they still had 1950s cars and shit like 5 years ago, and they're finally upgrading their civilization now because they'll stopped fucking them. Sorry.
No.
Get political with Cuba here. Cuba Talk, Frog Brothers Podcast.
No, it's culturally relevant to that, though.
Yeah.
And then,
it is interesting seeing it in this, though, because we're definitely post that shit now.
Yeah. But even in the 90s, like, I never grew up with, like, a fear of Cuba, like, in the 70s and 80s, like, where they instilled that in there, like, oh, the Cuban Missile War and all this other shit, you're just like, whatever. Calm the fuck you down.
Right.
I love the time when they're in the sea and like the water's really heavy. It's a little squall, pass right over, and then he goes down and is like just repeating what he says. It's great. It's just like it's a silly comedy, and then at the end, they decide, they're gonna stay on the boat and continue their adventure, and Captain Ron moves on and changes his look and then goes out and is doing the same spiel with other people. It's kind of one of those feel-good comedies, like, where the stakes seem like they're high, but there's never really like a huge risk of danger, because like even the Coast Guard comes in at the last second, and then Captain Ron like hears the family saying like feeling bad for Martin because he can't handle his shit, and then he pretends to break his leg so Martin can be the fucking hero and gain the confidence that this whole journey was about for him. It's like very tropey, filled with tropes, but it's fun. I enjoy watching it. It's one of those, like, if I had just seen this for the first time now, I'd be like, what in the fuck was that hot flaming pile of garbage? But
I think this is a movie I like to like I said, fits in with What About Bob and a little bit of maybe even Clifford just because of the weirdness of it.
Yeah,
Love
that's
that
true.
shit.
Yeah.
Martin Short, man. Underrated genius.
I'd say this is one of his better roles, at least for me, as far as rewatchability goes, just because it's so easy to...
Well, he's like one of the funniest fucking people that's ever lived, but he doesn't just not get good movie roles. You know what I mean? It's
He
weird.
shouldn't be playing a straight man, I don't think.
No, he should definitely have been crazier like Richard Dreyfuss and What About Bob? Like, play the straight man, but play it like a crazy fucking guy who's driven to the edge.
Yeah.
Well, even like Inner Space, he's kind of a hypochondriac. And
Yeah, see, like, that's a
Well,
good
like,
role.
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, that even that role isn't the best for him because it doesn't let him be Martin Short.
he gets a little bit. Definitely more than that.
Yeah, but imagine if Bill Murray had played that role. It'd just be like a waste of Bill Murray. It's kind of a waste of Martin Short to have him be in that movie almost, as much as I do like that movie. That's just how I feel. Like, Martin Short has so much more potential than the films he's in sometimes. Wish he would have been in some more stuff. Like, you've seen him in Arrested Development as some of the funniest shit ever. He has to be, like, carried around and shit. You need to watch that. He's like a character named Uncle Jack, I think. He's fucking ridiculous.
No, I'm all for it. So I still just love this movie. Watching it was like, oh man, I haven't seen it in a while. I probably haven't seen this in maybe 10 years or so. But it's hilarious. Like, you still know, like, plot for plot, like what's going on beat by beat and everything.
It's only been like 3 or 4 years for me.
It's great. You couldn't find this anywhere without paying an arm and a leg, so I went and bought a used copy on DVD for a couple bucks.
Yeah, I have one of those.
Well, it is free on YouTube now since March.
Nice.
So if you want to watch it,
check it out. But this ties back into the boat theme, which is funny because in Falcon and Winter Soldier, they're working on a boat, which stars obviously his son. So
we're gonna start covering some shit that we've been wanting to for a while too. Soon, I think here, like sometime this summer, we should cover Major Pain.
Yeah,
we're up here now.
We're gonna mix a decent amount of silly shit in there with new releases as they'll start to come out. I think we'll kind of get a good blend going here. Let's move along to the next piece.
That was Captain Ron.
Captain Ron.
Captain Ron.
Are we doing episode by episode or retro release reviews?
break up the movies with the...
We now return to the real Ghostbusters.
Diane, 11:30 a.m., February 24th. Entering the town of Twin Peaks.
Bill Murray's the funniest man on the planet.
Episode by episode.
Episode by episode, brought to you by the Frog Brothers Podcast, because we are self-aware, much like Skynet. That's okay, I hate me too.
So this is episode 7 of season 1, titled Realization Time.
Realization Time.
The realization that some of us are not as strong or as good of a person as Dale Cooper.
Yes. Holy fuck, they start that episode off hot and heavy. Hot and heavy. He's got a naked high schooler in his bed, and he's like...
she's 18. She's 18.
Yeah, she's still a high schooler, so she
I
might
know,
be a legal
that's
high
the
schooler.
conflict.
It's the That's exactly Dale's problem with it. He's like, you might be legal, but you're still not even, like, allowed to be doing a regular adult shit. You're in high school. You got
He's
child.
literally just telling her, though, the only reason he's not into her is because he's in the FBI, pretty much. Because he's still literally like, you're desirable. My dick is hard. I mean,
yeah, he basically gives her the
How hard did
lowdown
he
of
beat
like,
off after she left?
well, I mean, yeah, that's just implied.
How hard did I beat off when I watched this?
Well, it was really weird because I was sitting next to you, but...
And I finished twice, too. You didn't even notice.
Well, let's not get the black light out.
And I just did that while looking at Cooper. He's a handsome fella.
You'd like that slick back hair.
I would like to mess that hair up.
Oh, I bet you would. No, so that starts right off with that piece, and like he's even sitting on the edge of the bed, like not looking at her, but just kind of like giving enough over-the-shoulder glance to be like trying to be respectful as he like tells her like why he's not doing anything more than what she wants him to do.
No, I like that scene. It's good. It just guarantees that Cooper is too good for humans. He's like a goddamn dog. We just don't deserve him.
As far as the overall episode arc goes, this one's a pretty straightforward episode again. Like, right, we're more back into a very soap opera style episode compared to some of the weird stuff you're going to get later on.
Like next episode.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, you have Bobby and Shelly, and Leo's like fucking looking at his rifle.
Yeah, that's
after
crazy.
He was shot by Shelly in the last one. He's like looking at the rifle, and he's like, "Oh, hey, lover boy."
Yeah, he's all bloodied up too, and like holding this rifle one-handed. Like, you're not gonna have shit for accuracy there, but okay. And he obviously doesn't fire then at that point in time. It's just kind of they leave off on there. The other piece
Tell that to the game developers of GoldenEye.
I mean, I should. Rare. Isn't that Rare made that, I think?
I have no fucking clue.
Yes. I'm pretty sure it was Rare because I always remember that logo popping back on the load screen.
That's amazing.
Who gives a fucking shit?
Exactly. One of my favorite parts of this episode is like just the bird. They're going to have this bird like just talking to the recorder because Dale's like non-traditional like that with his investigative skills.
Yeah.
I can't even talk. Investigative skills.
That's the cool thing. I like the bird. He repeats shit like famous movie lines.
What a wiener.
Yeah, I like that one.
Or
losers always whine about their best.
This is a snakeskin jacket.
He says shit like that the whole time.
Exactly. And then you get to see them go undercover. I love
Big Ed's fucking mustache.
Yeah, Big Ed's mustache is amazing.
I love Cooper's just like, hey, we got $10,000 of the Bureau's money.
Yeah, Cooper's just fucking like trying to be James Bondy and shit in this.
He
like,
is. He is
strictly,
basically James Bond in this episode.
I mean, yeah, you're the best looking one out of the group. You want to dress nice, He may have some fun ways up there. Obviously, he's got Audrey on his mind still, so he's an eligible bachelor for the moment. Gonna go party.
We
a
get
little
this
bit.
guy laid, we'll have no problem.
Exactly. The sheriff looks great though, with his disguise as well.
The sheriff has a disguise?
Isn't he wearing a mustache as well?
I thought it was only Ed and Cooper that went in there as undercover.
Pretty sure they're all three in there.
I mean, they were all three talking at one point before they went back, but I don't recall that
Yeah,
part.
because they say that he's got a different, they talk about his job or whatever, and then they like say a couple things twice, and he talks about going out and like, checking her car engine or whatever, lifting up the hood. Yeah.
I'll go back to her place and check her out.
Yeah, go back to her place and check out her apartment.
God damn it. I covered up what I wanted to read.
And then you see Audrey at the perfume counter, kind of starting to find the ins and outs there, and then
she eavesdrops earlier on while you're seeing one of those girls get instructions from the guy that she manipulated into hiring her at the makeup counter, but she's eavesdropping about him telling this girl she's going to become an escort and then buy her some clothes and shit, and he gives her the number for Black Rose, which then Audrey later gets from that girl.
Yeah. No, it's a pretty significant plot development of her working into that angle here, and then by the end you see her interviewing down there.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem super significant at the time, but really when you find out that she's manipulated her way into her dad's sexual empire, it's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, next episode there'll be some surprises with that.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise.
How many puppies
The
are
guy who
inside?
owns it wants to try out the new girl.
Yep.
Guess who owns the place?
That's weird. Hey, but Tom Brady'd be all for it.
Oh,
if that
yeah.
was his family, that wouldn't even think twice about it. He'd be like, oh, you want to work here? Cool.
What do I get? Is what he would say. Because that's what he says to his son when his son says, can I play on the iPad? And he says, what do I get? And then his son walks up ashamed and kisses Tom Brady on the mouth. And Tom Brady goes, and licks his lips. At least I'm imagining, that last part wasn't in the video, but I'm sure that's what he does. Sick fuck.
Basically.
Fuck you, Tom Brady. I don't give a shit about football either. You can stick that football that's half deflated up your ass.
As long as it's not related to you.
Don't kiss the football in the mouth, you fuck.
Yeah. Okay, that's enough of that. It's easy to get off on those tirades, though.
They're the best part.
Oh, they have that joke about like, oh, he's like, oh, it's my rookie season, and she's like, oh, you're gonna be up to bat here soon, which is hilarious when they're in that scene. I thought that was a good line. Oh, and then we almost forgot out the most important thing. One of the most famous speeches that the entire Twin Peaks series is in there, and it's Dale Cooper talking to the sheriff about treating yourself to a present every day. And like it's just like so fucking like great and inspiring.
Sheriff,
like,
I'm gonna let you in on a little secret.
Yeah.
Every day, once a day, give yourself a present. Don't wait for it. Don't plan it. Just let it happen.
Yeah.
Could be a slice of cherry pie. What does he say? Like could be a coffee in the afternoon or something. Just let it happen.
I think he says something about like buying a clothing article, something in there too.
Oh yeah.
But it's so great because it's so
Could
genuine.
be a new butt plug.
Yeah. But it comes from such a sincere place when he delivers that line, and it's like applicable to real life. You're like, yeah, just let yourself have a little present every day.
Yeah. No,
Let's
it
do it.
really is. It's one of those lines I try to take with me.
Yeah, it's something to carry along.
Cooper's a
Bring it
god.
along.
Nick, any thoughts on this
Justin,
episode?
Justin, you get a present every day in the mail, don't you?
A present in the mail every day?
I wouldn't call Bill's presents.
No.
You get frequent packages, right?
No, I really cut off
He
my...
gets lots of male strippergrams, if that's what you mean by frequent packages.
It's weird because Alec keeps showing up here in costume all the time.
Yeah,
naked.
with different facial hair on, saying, I was hired by Nick.
It's even stranger.
Happy birthday.
It's even stranger when it's not Nick's birthday and he's hiring strippergrams for himself saying it's his birthday.
Yeah.
It's almost my birthday.
Your birthday's in May.
I am for hire.
It's almost
How old do you turn? 40?
38.
38, okay. I thought you were turning 40 for some reason.
What the fuck?
I'm just fucking with you, man. I knew you were turning 38.
You and I are the same age for a few weeks.
Yep.
That's hot.
That's so hot. Like Paris Hilton style.
That makes my back pussy wet.
Oh, and then I love how they're trying to fuck with Jacoby there in this episode. And Jacoby's such a strange motherfucker in this series.
I hate him.
So do I. He's so unsettling. But the thing in this episode that's really unsettling about him is the way he's got like the red lens and the blue lens in his glasses, like for like old 3D print material. You're just like, what the fuck?
He wears those a lot.
Yeah, and he's just so unsettling that way. And everyone's trying to figure out, like, you get to see a little bit of James trying to figure out what's going on with it, and then they're doing the Laura impersonator and everything else. So it's pretty cool to see, like, all the different story arcs flowing through this season as it goes.
Well, that whole thing it's laughable, but it's totally soap opera-y to have the person who's dead played by the same actress play their cousin and then pretend to be that person and shit to fool someone. Like, that's such trickery, soap opera 90s shit that it is so good being in there. And
my twin brother.
Exactly. Messing with the arc of this, like...
I died, but my twin brother's alive.
Exactly. And then the woman starts fucking the twin brother like it's not weird or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Just pretends it's basically the same fucking guy, even though he beats her and he drinks and smokes, and the other guy never did that. He went to church on Sundays and was like, he bought her a puppy and shit. And this guy was always coming home empty balled, already unloaded in a couple bitches earlier and shit. Like
Jesus Christ.
Cigarettes, wife beater, fried food stains on his wife beater, cat hair everywhere.
Fried food stains. It's nasty.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, that's a good episode. There's a lot of story arc being built in this one. So
yeah.
And then
The
if you
season
take
finale
away
is next, right?
Yep. The first season was only 8 episodes, and then season 2 is 22.
Well, the pilot's 1 episode. This first season's 7 episodes, but it's weird because it's one of those...
The way they count and order everything, depending on which... Like, we're watching on Hulu, so I think it lists them as 1 through 8, whereas some of the, like the VHS release and probably... Is it the DVD release is the same labeling?
Pilot and 1 through 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the second episode is called Episode 1, even on Hulu.
Yeah, they didn't get titles for the episodes until the German home video release.
Yeah, it's very weird stuff, but hey.
We'll take it. It's a fun one. Just watch for Dale Cooper's speech on treating yourself to a present every day.
Mm-hmm.
Treat yourself.
Except better. Although that's a good spiel, too, in Parks and Rec.
Treat yourself.
All right, so we're going to talk about another boat movie. And
You know what I just watched? Me pulling a can off some moron's fist? Return of the Jedi.
Did you see Alien? When that creature was in that guy's stomach?
Oh my god!
You ever seen that really old movie? Empire Strikes Back?
Jesus, Tony.
Welcome to Retro Release Reviews.
So, the second film in the boat series is not Step Brothers, featuring the theme song Boats and Hoes. It's actually the Life Aquatic.
Titanic?
With Steve Zissou.
No.
No, we
Perfect Storm?
That's a good one, too.
We want
Not really, but it's a true
The Poseidon
story.
Adventure?
Yeah.
Just name it boat
That's a
movies.
good-
Deep Blue Sea? That's not really a boat movie. It's more of a Sea Lab movie, but hey.
Yeah.
We can go
Boat
with
trip.
that. Yeah, boat trip.
Sure. Is that a movie?
What's that? Going Overboard with Adam Sandler? Overboard with Kurt Russell?
And Goldie Hawn?
Yeah.
Goldie.
And Wyatt Russell's son? Their son? Wyatt Russell, their son? Not Wyatt Russell's son. Wyatt Russell's son. I don't know if he has a son.
He's in that? Is there?
No, but I'm just saying. He's their son.
Yes.
They fucked during that movie and made him.
Wyatt Russell played.
I mean, that's
young Kurt
I just
Russell
made
in
that
some
up. I don't know.
movie, and I don't remember which one now.
What was he in that we just saw the other day? Oh, this is 40.
Yeah.
Oh, he's in
he
that?
was like-
Wyatt Russell.
he
We
was-
randomly saw him in there. He plays a
yeah,
hockey
he was
player.
He was hitting on Leslie Mann at the bar.
Yeah, she
okay.
almost fucked him at the bar or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
She was flirting with him, basically. It was just funny to see him there, like, now, because he's going to be recognizable as fuck everywhere. You see him, you're going to be
He
like,
looks pretty. he
Oh,
looks
yeah.
pretty
He's
much the same
done all
after
kinds
9
of shit,
years.
yeah.
It's funny, as Nick approaches 38, the movie This Is 40 becomes more and more relatable to him and to myself. And Alec is just
Well, I don't-
turning
I don't
30,
have a
so
wife.
he's
I don't
just
have a
really
wife and
beginning
kids,
to
so it's
enjoy the
not
post-29
really relatable.
season.
Otherwise known as death.
No.
Yeah.
Our
Get it?
family has longevity. You could live to be 100.
Every second is a second closer to death.
Or every second is a second closer to your next orgasm.
I mean, technically, both of those things are true.
Exactly. So you got to find the silver lining in it.
One day you'll have your last orgasm.
That's depressing. Don't say that, you jerk.
That is, wow.
I didn't
That's
say
the most
soon.
fucked up thing you've ever said to me, Nick.
I was trying to drop those
And
bombs,
you'll-
and then Nick
and you
dropped
won't-
one.
and you won't know it's your last one.
See, death isn't sad by itself, and neither is the orgasm. But imagining yourself not having sex anymore, or the last time you have sex, even not even the last orgasm, just the last time somebody else touches your pee-pee in a fun way. That's gonna suck. I mean, it'll rule, but it'll
You'll be a
also
nurse-
suck.
You're a nurse in your nursing home cleaning it.
Well, hopefully, it'll suck anyway. It's not gonna suck itself.
I mean, that's assuming you get to old age and you go into a nursing home, Nick. There's too many other variables there. But thanks
Also, health and technology will move forward, so hopefully I'll be a 100-year-old man with the
You'll have a
penile strength
robot.
of a 20-year-old.
You'll have a robot cleaning your penis.
I'll have a robot inside my penis that makes it hard when I want instantly.
Oh, there you go.
They already make a pump. that'll do
Regenerates
that
the
thing.
nerves and stimulates it. Probably jerks me off from the inside. I don't even have to do anything. Just sit there and I press the cum button and it goes squirt like a goddamn mayo bottle.
Hey, we're supposed to be talking about the wholesome movie Life Aquatic.
Yeah, we are. And we got
Wholesome?
off on a tangent.
Yeah, this movie's anything but wholesome.
Hey, but actually, we can
It's a
close.
feel-good movie.
We can loop this out because Steve Zissou in this movie is said to have shoot blanks per his wife in this movie, which is important because you go through this whole movie of plot development, where Steve's trying to build this relationship with Ned, thinking it's his son.
You're supposed to be my son, aren't you?
Yeah. And he thinks this is his father, and obviously, if he knew he was shooting blanks, he's probably just out there raw dogging everything, going crazy.
Oh shit.
Wes Anderson has this way in his movies, this one especially being one of them, where it feels, and he does this on purpose, and it's intentional, you can tell, but it feels old-timey, but also new. You can't really place the time period, although you can say it's definitely past a certain period, obviously, based on technology and shit like that. But it's whimsical. Like, Owen Wilson's character is the fucking most whimsical asshole I've ever met in my life, and I've never met him. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It's interesting because it's not used to the way you're seeing this guy. And that's what's even funny about that is Owen Wilson started out in these kind of movies as opposed to the movies where you think of him being an annoying asshole sometimes.
Yeah. You look at this compared to how he is in Meet the Parents.
Well, no, Meet the Parents is another one of those great roles that he's in. I would compare to this. As opposed to, I'm talking about Blades of fucking Glory and like the one where he's a super fucking model with Will Ferrell and shit, like the real fucking garbage. The fucking abominations that make you want to cut his dick off and break his nose again with it.
That's a little intense.
But
so if there's a restraining order against anybody on this podcast by Owen Wilson, it's by Alec.
Wow. That's what I'll say when he gets it to me.
Didn't we do Cable Guy last week?
We did, yeah. And Alec was surprisingly aroused when Owen Wilson got his ass beat in the bathroom.
By a man with a mustache.
By a man with a mustache, looking kind of like...
me, who was also a cable guy at one point. Welcome to the documentary Cable Guy.
Yeah, so welcome to When Reality Meets Alec.
And reality is less than television.
Welcome to Videodrome.
So... Life Aquatic. You know what always makes me laugh is the beginning of this movie where they're screening the first Life Aquatic, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, part 1.
And Esteban gets fucking eaten. And he's losing his shit. And Esteban was eaten. What? You know, Willem Dafoe's there just reacting to him.
He's
what?
like,
he was eaten?
Yeah, and he's like, he was swallowed whole?
He was chewed.
Yeah.
He's good. Esteban was eaten.
Eaten, yeah.
I shot it dorsally with a homing dart. He calls it a jaguar shark and shit. And I love the interview questions, how the people... It just goes to show how brilliant this movie is. But, like, you know, the people are asking questions are like, was it a deliberate choice not to show the jaguar shark? And he's like, no, I dropped the camera. And everybody laughs. And he's like, why are they laughing?
Yeah.
I don't know. This is not supposed... I was just answering the question. That whole scene there, he gets the rainbow fish seahorse or whatever thing that looks so fucking cool. I want to get a tattoo of that.
The thing I love about this movie is, like you said, there's like certain parts of it that are really whimsical, like, and just that childhood joy of exploring things for the first time. And so, like, all the sea life that you see in there, it's like kind of like a claymation style animation in there works really well. I mean, between the jaguar shark, the seahorse, some of the fish and the other stuff you see in there, it just works so well because it's got so much color. It pops and kind of contrasts like what you're expecting in a movie like that.
Yeah.
They could have easily tried to spend a bunch of money on CGI and having everything look as real as possible, but it's less interesting to the story when you do that.
I mean, that's just one of those things, like, you can tell when you're watching a Wes Anderson movie, like you can tell you're watching a Tarantino movie. Mm-hmm. Both of those directors in general, even if the movie takes place in a current time, feels a little timeless.
Yes. Yeah, there's a big lack of modern technology in there to, like, really date the movie, right?
Nobody has a cell phone in there as far as I'm concerned, did they?
No. I mean, they're using the phone, and, you know, it's very Wes Anderson with, you know, he likes to show old technology in there, but they also have old equipment, so...
Yeah.
It goes to say, and then, for me, this is like the return to form for Bill Murray.
Yeah, it's a great character arc for Steve Zissou. It's one of the best character arcs ever because he starts out and you're kind of getting to know the guy and they're trying to make you like him but also understand that, yeah, he's kind of in a shitty spot and he has been for a while now and he doesn't really know where he's going with his life anymore. He's a little washed up and just pissed off and jaded.
Yeah, he's 52 years old, so he's kind of having that kind of midlife crisis. He just lost his best friend. He doesn't really know what's next.
He's pretty much slid down the last 20 years of his career. It's like just
we haven't had a successful documentary in 10 years.
Yeah, just as it's a different thing he's living with, and I mean, he even calls Jeff Goldblum a slick faggot at one point.
Mm-hmm.
How could you lay that slick faggot is what he says about him, and it's like. Some people would see that line in this movie today, I think, and take it the wrong way, and not understand that you're supposed to see that his character is just fucking pissed off and jaded and hates everything, and that's why he's saying that kind of shit.
Because they make a few, like, derogatory gay lines in that movie. But the part to me though that I don't want to detract from anyone like is who they are as a person, but is when Jeff Goldblum even goes, he's like, "Oh, you should know that I'm part gay," and then Bill Murray's like, "Well, aren't we all?"
Yeah,
that's
I love that
because even Bill Murray's character knows that like at some level there's like a natural curiosity, I guess you could say, but and then Jeff Goldblum's is fucking as eccentric as he ever is, which is so great.
What Justin's trying to tell everybody is that he wants to know what it's like to suck a penis. And not that he wants to know what it's like, but he wants to know what it would be like to do it again. So let us know how that goes for you. More hair for you on your journey. Jeff Goldblum's great in this movie.
Yes, he is.
Wes Anderson has a cameo as the director who's talking shit on Steve when he's talking with Ned at the little bar or whatever on the side, and they're trying to come up with the money or whatever. And they walk in there. He's like, "Is that asshole talking about me?"
Yeah.
And Wes Anderson plays that guy.
Yeah, when they're all speaking French and he gets up and goes over there pissed.
Angelica Houston
is amazing in this. She's great.
She's a goddess always, but yeah, she was great in this. I like her and just Wes Anderson stuff in general.
She's great in this because she's very mild-mannered and subdued, but she has a lot going on, right? She's obviously been married to Hennessy before, and then she's Steve's current wife, but they're on the rock, so that's kind of like this whole other thing. And, you get some character depth out of her.
Yeah. There's just something about her interactions with Steve that I like. They're captivating.
I would probably tell you right now, this is my favorite Owen Wilson role he's ever done. Just hands down, I think. Just based on when he's just so in tune with everything going on, right? He's just looking through a child's lens.
I like it when he
still has the childhood letter that he got back from Steve. He still has all that. He mailed him the sample of the bug and drew it out.
That's one of those filmmaking things I like. I was saying that's whimsical is the way his voice is, and when it shows up and they bring that letter, the narration of his voice reading the letter and stuff.
Yes,
it really plays.
Well, and you see him even when he's with the reporter and he just wants to listen to her read the book aloud. And he goes and gets comfortable in there. That's a very childlike thing for his character, right? Because obviously this character didn't have a dad growing up, so he's still learning that. So he naturally reverts to this kind of learning stage, and you really see him change who he is, and he's just open-minded and receptive to everyone. Which obviously with Klaus, that gets some jealousy going on there.
Yeah, I love when he gets pissed at Klaus and Klaus slaps him, whatever. And he's like, "You do that again, I will." I don't know what he said. What does he say to him? I will knock your teeth down.
Yeah, exactly. And then he slaps him later on. He's like, "But now I owe you one." He's like, "No, or even."
Yeah,
it's so great.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe's great in this too because he's a little, he's a little squirrely. I don't know how to describe him. He's a little squirrely, and
he's way funnier than he normally is, just because you usually see him being he's intense in this movie, but not the crazy intense we're used to. He's intense in a weird kind of silly way, and it works.
He's not intense like he is in that penis rock bashing movie. Where then
Spider-Man?
He ejaculates cum or blood or whatever.
The Green Goblin?
Antichrist.
Yeah, Spider-Man, that's it.
Yep, the Green Goblin, I knew it.
Yeah. Here's, you want to see my Peter Parker?
Oh, God.
Did you end up watching that?
Fuck no. I've read about it, and that's enough for me. If I can read about somebody getting their cock smashed and then jerking off and coming out blood, but I can't watch a movie about that. I just,
You need to watch it.
I don't need that in my life. I don't need that kind of negativity.
Yeah, that's there's.
You watch it, Justin?
Nope, never seen it. There's a place where some lines are going to be drawn, and that's that's right about where my line is drawn.
Lars von Trier, we'll watch a couple of your movies. We're going to watch Melancholia with Kiefer Sutherland and Kirsten Dunst because there's no genital mutilation in that film. So it's got that going for it.
Yeah, that's a good start.
Lars von Trier is known for his unsimulated sex and genital mutilation. So I'm all right.
So the Life Aquatic, I remember seeing this in theaters and just like fucking walking out being like, God damn, that was great.
I didn't see it in theaters, but I didn't see it
I
till
remember watching it
years
when
later.
it first came out on DVD or whatever.
I started getting into the Wes Anderson films in my, 1920. I hadn't seen many of them, and I saw Rushmore and this one were the first two I watched because Bill Murray was the starring role, so I was like, all right, these ones I'll start with.
I think I saw Rushmore at the theater.
I loved them both. And also, Mark Bothersbaugh did the score for this from Devo. And there is a Devo song in it also. He does a lot of great stuff. He scored most of the Wes Anderson films.
The music in this one's incredible, though.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually purchased the score of this one just because I love it so much. It's great.
All that shit's fucking awesome.
That's one of my ringtones to wake up to.
Yeah.
As you probably heard more times than you care to count.
Well, because I never understand what I'm hearing. I would always hear it when I was sleeping on your couch and be like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, you're like, what is this?
Because I would only hear the snare.
Oh, yeah. Yep. But like I said, I think this is a turning point for Bill Murray to kind of come back. In the late 90s, he had some movies that were just kind of like, yeah, okay.
I like how his character smokes weed and shit, too.
He's just kind of figuring out who he is again. Yeah, and he's like smoking weed the whole time in this movie. He's okay. And then just the way he's even like leading it. And like it just shows you how many documentaries are that way too, right? Because they show you like, hey, we're going to get this shot. And then like they go backwards to actually film the shot once they see what they're looking for, right? So, and then the whole narration process, it's very tongue-in-cheek, but it's also a tribute to Jacques Cousteau. And they even like thank the society, and they're like, wasn't, we didn't get any formal rights for this, but it was influenced by this, and, just thanks for the inspiration.
Yeah. It's fucking great.
But there's also the pirate scene on there, and then I love how, there's a monsoon that has wiped out one of the islands that had a nice resort.
I was about to say that pirate scene, what I really like about that is, like the contrast, how the color changes during that scene as soon as he turns into a badass, and the color palette completely changes, and it's like, fuck. What the hell is happening? I don't know, but I like it. Why is this funny movie all of a sudden Bill Murray's shooting shit and whooping everybody's ass? Is he hallucinating? Am I hallucinating?
Mm-hmm.
And then nope, that's just the scene. You almost think he's having a fantasy moment because he's just blowing everyone away and not getting shot while he's walking around in a fucking basically Speedo and sandals and shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, so they do a great job with that movie. And then you finally get the closure with the jaguar shark after you see Ned die, which is interesting because like he's a helicopter pilot, but they haven't maintained the helicopter.
That's the song from Sigur Rós. I don't know how to pronounce it because I'm pretty sure. I mean, I know they're like Swedish or something, but it's either way, we're not going to try to pronounce it, but it's a dope song and it's very emotional. And every time I hear it now, because I have it on a couple playlists, I always think of Bill Murray crying and everybody when they grab his shoulder and shit, and they comfort him and they're like, this is the moment.
And then a couple other really funny spots in this movie is like after they steal everything from Hennessy's like the goddamn savage. He's like, oh yeah, who would do that? And like basically blames it on being the same people.
Oh yeah.
And then he gets shot, but still somehow survives, which is fun because you're like, what? You can't just kill Jeff.
He's wearing a Dr. Pepper, I'm a Pepper shirt or something too.
Yeah, that's amazing. And at one point in time, there's also a RC Cola bottle cap on the ground when you see, I think it's when you see one of those shellfish on the beach. Not the jellyfish though, but I think there's a crab or something that goes by it. So, and we're artificially sponsored by RC Cola.
One day.
Artificially, I mean make believe.
That's okay. Someday we'll find out where one of those executives lives. We'll follow him to the grocery store, right? We'll go into the grocery store. He'll do his grocery shopping. He'll come out. It'll be dusk, a little dark, nobody around. Just the faint wind, a shopping cart banging against the shopping cart disposal thing. And then
Heart Corral.
Yeah, whatever. He's opened his trunk.
And that's when the bat.
I was about to say, that's when I show up and force this motherfucker into his own trunk.
Oh, I was going to say.
Take his keys,
and that's
close
when,
the trunk. And that's where the plan ends.
I thought that's when the bat kite lands and hits him.
The bat kite.
Yeah, from the Lost Boys. In the parking lot?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the vision I was picturing the whole time.
No, I was just talking about kidnapping someone. I don't even know
Oh.
who anymore. Isn't that funny?
That's scary.
I don't know.
So, Nick, you haven't really said much about the Life Aquatic, so have you seen this very many times or anything?
I watched it a couple of months ago, so I didn't rewatch it like this week or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But we were talking about Wes Anderson films, so I went back and watched it.
Have you seen all of his films?
No.
Have you seen Bottle Rocket?
No.
We'll have to cover that one sometime. I assume you've seen Rushmore, obviously, in Royal Tenenbaums?
Yeah.
Figured.
Well, Royal Tenenbaums I watched in a living room full of people, so I didn't really hear a lot of it.
Jesus, that's a great one. That's so good. Have you
I
seen
didn't
it?
Yeah, that's not a party movie.
The ones I
So
would
saw
say...
Rushmore at the theater, and I think I watched it one other time after that.
So have you seen the Darjeeling Limited?
Highly underrated.
I
That
can't
one's
remember
good.
if I've seen that or not. I've at least heard of that one. Yeah.
What about the Grand Budapest Hotel?
Who's in that?
What's that guy's name? The guy who plays Voldemort. He's the lead actor in that.
Oh, Ray Fiennes.
Yeah, Ray Fiennes is in it. The guy who is in Spider-Man Homecoming as Flash Thompson is the lobby boy.
Yeah, he is. He's great in that. He's really good in that.
Yeah, that's what, when I saw him pop up
may
in
have
Spider-Man
seen that
movies,
one.
it was like, what the fuck? Awesome. Yeah, no, that one's great. I Love Dogs and Fantastic Mr. Fox are great. Just not, they're still different. They still feel like Wes Anderson movies, but they're not obviously I don't know, they're just a little bit different. I think I like Fantastic Mr. Fox better, even though I like the futuristic aspect and the fact that it focuses on dogs a lot about Isle of Dogs, but it's a little, arguably, it could be seen as racist and shit, but we won't get into that.
Yeah, it's got its
a
own
little
thing
weird.
going on there, so I don't know. I need to know more about like the thought process behind that and what inspired that. But yeah, obviously, and then Fantastic Mr. Fox is just based off the Roald Dahl book. So
he has a movie. What's it coming out called? No, that's an actual movie, but it's called French something. I think Dispatch. French Dispatch. Is that what his new
I
movie's coming
believe
out
so.
called?
Yeah, that's the reporter movie.
I think there's Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of people in it. Like Bill Murray's always going to be, in there in some capacity probably, but yeah, I'm excited to see some of that. Life Aquatic is a great film if you haven't watched it.
I'm drawing a blank on the name of the camping one. What's that one called?
Moonrise Kingdom.
Moonrise Kingdom, yeah. That it's good, but it's I don't know, the adult characters are great in there, but there's a lot of like young people stuff, and it's an interesting coming of age story. So the rewatchability there isn't quite there as where it is with some of the others.
It's a great movie also, but it's, I don't know, it's hard to explain. One of those things where the kids are, there's almost too much depth and interesting things happening to them that makes it unrelatable to current times, because I didn't feel the way they feel when I was a kid.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, that would make sense.
But I don't know. I mean, it's still a great movie, and it's done well.
Like Edward Norton's great in that.
It has some great lines in it too. I love when Bill Murray's laying in bed. It's one of my favorites. He's staring at the ceiling, and I'm pretty sure it's after he found out that his wife was cheating on him with Bruce Willis, and he literally just says, "I wish the roof would rip off and the sky would suck me up," or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So we had some fun boat movies. I don't know. I was picking stuff, and I just thought about stuff that we hadn't really seen or watched, and I was like, those two kind of have a similar theme, just in the very broad spectrum of it, and then they're very, very different in the actual execution.
Yeah,
so.
Justin got a boat for his birthday. Not really. I don't know why he picked boat movies, but hey.
I don't know. Well, for one, I just thought I could cover a Bill Murray movie, and for two, Captain Ron's silly as shit. So
yeah.
Well, I think you thought of Captain Ron, and then you're like trying to think of a match.
Oh yeah,
for
maybe
it.
I did. Yeah, I wanted to do something to go with it. So. Well, we're gonna wrap this show up, and plan on coming back at you on our regularly scheduled programming next week.
Just a few more days and we'll record another one.
Yep.
Yes.
And we'll be in Alex's new place. You'll be able to see the video store. It's be a little more exciting than my fancy curtains.
There'll be
behind us.
some things here instead of just curtains. Maybe some scenery.
Which is crazy because like I have nice bookcases and stuff in here. We just can't see them with where the setup is. So
yeah,
you might hear some familiar voices from the early episodes. A kitty.
Oh yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? This guy just have a stroke?
No, the return of cat buttholes on film.
Yeah, pretty much. Cat holes instead of assholes.
These are my dinner guests.
Good night, folks.
Good night.
These are my dinner guests, Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers, Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, the Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers, Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers, Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, the Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers, Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, Frog Brothers.
Shut this off. Shut these all off.